This podcast is brought to you by the School of Advanced Study, University of London.
Welcome back, everyone, and welcome those of you who just joined us. And it's my pleasure to introduce the first speaker of the afternoon session, Madeleine Kessler, who's just joined us from the summer school, running a summer school at the Architectural Association. Madeleine is an architecture and planning professional. She obtained degrees at Sheffield in civil engineering and architecture and at the Architectural Association itself. She joined Haworth Tompkins, a private practice, after working at HHF Architects in Basel, Studio Weave, and Cross Boundaries Architects in Beijing. So, welcome, Madeleine.
So I'm Madeleine Kessler, and as Katia just said, my background is really in architecture, and the kind of thesis behind my talk of the city and the spectacle was developed in my diploma project, which I completed at the Architectural Association 2 years ago. So as a brief sort of introduction to the project, at the moment I'm working at Haworth Tompkins. I'm working on a social housing project and also a theatre project, which are two completely different projects, but both are really as important to the city and the future of London as each other. And prior to that, I worked at Studio Weave, and this is just some examples of things I worked on to show how even the sort of smallest intervention in the city can change the way the city works and how people interact with the city. So on the left, on your left is Smith, which was a pavilion for Club Design that was designed last year. And it's a tiny pavilion, it's 4 meters by 6 meters, and it was just up for a week, but the idea was it provided a space where local designer makers could come and hold workshops for people passing by, and for the week it was up, it created like a real buzz, and sort of really transformed that space. And then on the right is the watering hole, which is an idea for water fountains in London, which isn't just like to give free drinking water, which in itself is something really good, but also could provide kind of placemakers and gathering spaces for people. So yeah, just two examples of how even the smallest intervention can really affect how the city works. So I'm really interested in cities and how they grow and how they decline. And I thought this image was just quite good in showing how sort of when a city grows, it also causes destruction. And I think the success of a city is really about sort of negotiating this threshold between growing and destroying. But cities aren't just made up of physical objects, they're also made up of events and the people within them. And it's kind of this combination of form and events which combine to create spectacles and create the city. So that's kind of a little intro to my diploma project, and now I'll go for it. So my project's called The Red City. And it argues that the city's evolution is dependent upon conflict, and it questions the role of the architect within this conflict on multiple scales. So from the momentary groups gathering around street artists in Covent Garden to the biannual horse races in the Piazza del Campo, it is an interaction between form and events that informs urban centres world over. It is form that encourages the event to occur and the event that allows form to thrive. And it is a confrontation of the two that culminates in the spectacle. The city may be made by the spectacle, such as at the Kumbh, or it may be made for the spectacle, as in the Beijing Olympics. Either way, it is the spectacle that is the catalyst to the cultural maturity that ensures the success of our cities. Through this project, we question how the architect operates within the evolving city, when the balance between form and event is continually changing beyond our control. In search of our answers, we turn to the Red City, a city cultivated by the ring. Before the first fights, the Red City was an insignificant town in Southern California. Overshadowed by Las Vegas to its east and Los Angeles to the west, there was little to distinguish it. In a bid for growth, the competition to build the city's tallest building was contested. The winning design was determined by way of physical fights on the outskirts of the city, and the Red City grew as a catalogue of fights won within the ring. The city's history was written in the ring, its narrative determined by the winner of each fight. Boxing is to the Red City what the church is to Rome or the casino to Las Vegas. Through the fight, it has developed from a remote desert town into a claimed towering city, shaped by the spectacle for the spectacle. But in deliberately fostering the city through the fight, the spectacle has unintentionally carved its own form into the landscape, the whole. The whole exists to provide the density that the spectacle demands. Within its 3 kilometre circumference, the whole can contain all of the Red City's 1.5 million citizens. It is the transformation of the whole by sheer mass of people that defines the spectacle. The whole's existence is dependent on disagreement. When there is a fight, the whole swallows all life from the city. It becomes the city. Whilst the whole is a spectacle that contains spectators, you can only be in the whole. You cannot live, eat, sleep, or work in it. It is an ever-engulfing space of everything and nothing, oscillating between an absolute of empty and full, void and event. Through the spectacle, the whole delivers a world dedicated to the city's evolution. The whole is an architecture of the circle, expanding in all directions to accommodate all citizens of the growing city. Enabling its expansion is the rig, the only permanent object within the void's perimeter. The rig is a mechanism that transcends the border between whole and city. It is the apparatus that allows the spectacle to occur. Most of the time, the rig acts as an excavating machine. It continuously scrapes away at layers of rock carving the form for the event. The rig's continual grinding is only interrupted by the event when it becomes the entry corridor for our boxes. Through the rig, the Red City has become a recognisable, identifiable object. Sandstone excavated by the machine is ground, crushed, cut and carved, feeding its way back into the city. Over time, the whole's expansion has turned the city red. Evidence of its resonance is the cultural material source of the city's evolution. So the city has grown, dependent on conflict at every scale, whether it be through the physical fight, the opposing spectators, or the whole that dissects the city. With this, the project now questions, how large can the conflict grow? Is there an optimum limit for the city? The existence of the rig dates back some generations, when the whole was recognised as crucial to the city's evolution. An area of sparse land surrounding the whole was cordoned off by a ring road and left undeveloped, protected for its future growth. The ring road has for decades defined the maximum limit for the whole's expansion, but now, for the first time in the city's history, the whole is reaching its limits and the city's population is still growing. Should the whole expand any further, then it will engulf a strip of buildings along its edge. Yet if excavation falters, the whole will not be large enough to contain all of the city's residents, sacrificing its founding principle. This is no longer a fight contained within the whole, but a battle along its periphery. So the city and the spectacle have reached a limit, whereby it is no longer possible for them both to maintain the threshold between form and event. The project now considers how we, as designers of the city, operate the spectacle, once we are forced to take a bias. What happens when something so embedded in the city's evolution eventually becomes a destructive force? Forced to pick a side, we return to the Red City. We consider the argument that if the city's evolution depends on the whole, then the whole's expansion must continue. Whilst the city's growth has always been dependent upon violence, it now also becomes centred around destruction. As the whole consumes the same city that it created, it brings chaos to the grid it once organised. For generations, the rig's constant grinding symbolised prosperity, but now it also embodies devastation, both physically and culturally scarring an area far beyond the whole's periphery. The whole's destruction can only end if the event is made to stop. But if the fight is to retire, then the whole, physically carved in the ground, will still remain. It becomes a relic, a form without event. The final battle fought in the whole determines the future of its form. It is decided that the city's cultural and historical centre should be flooded. All life becomes orientated around the drowned rig, its rust poisoning the lake red. Through the red lake, the void remains, a violent interruption of the city grid, a disruption that its organisation has come to depend upon. Far from stealing the identity of the city, the whole, through its savage death, still organises it. But though the red lake creates a momentary utopia, it also threatens stagnation through its long-term serenity. When the grinding stops, the emptiness that once empowered the whole engulfs the city. Without the spectacle, the city is merely a collection of buildings threatening to blend into obscurity. Taking a bias of form or event can only lead to the city's demise. So to conclude, the conversation of form and event has in the past been constrained to small-scale moments and interventions in the city, with little influence beyond the spectacle's immediate growth rate. But the spectacle is in fact a conversation of the city, with the threshold constantly changing at every level. The battle between form and event is continually being fought in every city at multiple scales, whether at the architect's drawing board, in the Georgian house, converted for its use, or the maintenance of the building. The city's evolution is dependent upon conflict, and whilst we don't know what the spectacle will threaten next, as architects we must negotiate the threshold to ensure that the battle continues to rage. So that was where I sort of concluded my diploma project 2 years ago. And sort of looking back on it and taking it forward, I think what was really important to me through it, and I think I want to continue to develop this idea that it's identifying key questions rather than specific answers. Because I think often when people are debating the future of cities, they're all too quick to jump to conclusions or answers rather than to really identify what the problems are and the key questions. And sort of relating that back to cities that you might be more familiar with, I mean, the idea of a city that grows so fast that it also destroys, I think most cities have been through that, and at the moment it's really common in China. And yeah, there's kind of no right or wrong way for a city to grow, but clearly when you're destroying culture and history, just for the sake of building a face of the city, it's not going to be a sustainable future for that city. And at the other end of the spectrum, a sort of stagnant city, a good example of that would be Venice, which just hasn't changed in hundreds of years, and is a beautiful tourist destination, but isn't sort of a working, livable city as such. And you wouldn't want every city in the world to be stagnant as Venice. And sort of bring it back to London. This was a rendering I found which an artist has generated about London's future skyline, what it might be like. And I think this idea of sort of negotiating the threshold between form and event and all these debates which are going on in the press right now as to whether it's good to have these high-rise buildings or not is really sort of crucial to London's future, because it is really important that the city develops and that it evolves and that the skyline continues to change and that we have an evolving skyline, but at the same time you don't want the skyline to sort of just become like every other modern city. So yeah, I just thought I'd end on a question, which is if we're thinking about the future of our cities, it's really important to consider like where the next spectacle will be in considering how they're going to evolve.